We usually speak about 4 phases of learning any new skill. That goes for you, but also for other people within your organization that you want to change. Hello, I'm Tom. Welcome to my channel, and we will discuss a bit how, as a CI manager, can you set yourself up for success in your career, in your change management. And one of the main things that I wanted to discuss with you already for quite some time is the concept. It's a very strong concept of allowing everybody to follow their own learning curve. This is important for yourself. Come to think about it. If you have mastered a skill, you also want others to sort of allow for some mistakes to be made. You will correct it. You will do your best. And when you make a mistake, you actually do your best to correct it. Also allow this with others. Another thing, when we're talking about something that you have been doing for years, you probably not only use a higher skill level. I mean, I hope you do. I hope you've been really training and getting better in a lot of different skills, but you're also using more advanced tools, right? If you have been working in the financial world for quite some time, you know half of those SAP codes by head, or Oracle screens, you know which ways to go. You have a couple of add-on software packages that can extract data for you, make the graphs. You probably know how to work with Power BI or Tableau, how it all integrates, because hey, that's what you do. And then somebody comes in sort of from the production management side, or maybe a continuous improvement person, and asks a bit about how can we generate a more digital KPI thing. And you say, oh, well, you just install the APIs for SAP, and then BI will pick it up, and you can make a daily refresh. Probably enough, right? You don't really need 5 minutes. So maybe daily, maybe every 4 hours. You do need to publish it and then share it to a group. That's not their level. Not in skill, not in tools. And this is important to know. So generally when we speak about learning, we sort of identify 4 stages. And the 4 stages, they come into 2 axes, and that is the competence level itself, but also how conscious or unconscious are you of your own skill. And when you start out, you are unconscious about that you don't know it, right? So you don't even know that you cannot do something, which is quite observable with first-time learners of basically anything. And when I started learning the piano, I was quite happy that I could play, what is it, Brother Jack, or one of those simple riddles quite soon. But then after maybe 2 weeks, you understand when you pick up a normal piece of music with the title super easy written on top, that is not super easy. Then I understood, I was very conscious of the fact that I was not competent at all. And on the piano, I'm still somewhere here. But for many skills, when you then learn to use it, when you practice it, you at some point become quite competent. You know you can do things, but you also know those things that you cannot yet do. And because it was pretty recent that you were not so competent, you also still know that you are now able to do things. It's a certain pride, definitely, but that means that you at this phase are still a better teacher quite often than those people. Because what happens after some time, when it basically is a normal skill for you, when you start using those more experienced and more intricate, more involved tools, more complicated stuff, that's also the phase where at some point you're sort of unconscious of the fact that you are very competent at something. If it is a core task for your work, and you chat on a daily basis with people who have sort of the same work, and then maybe those are a bit around it. Like if you're again in finance and you talk with your finance buddies, and then you talk with management, it's like everybody can just read a P&L statement. That's such a basic tool. Oh wait, if everybody can do something, probably you are just unconscious of the fact that you have really mastered something already. And why did I say that that is not as easy a trainer state as this one. That is because you can no longer easily get into the mind of the novice and explain the concepts. Now, what I like sort of more than the conscious, unconscious, competent, incompetent is to follow a bit the old European system, so to say. A novice, somebody who didn't really get into the stuff to begin with, and then you go through apprentice, and the apprentice level, people just need to sort of practice, do what they've been told. Then a journeyman who can do things, but it's still, they're learning to get into the flow. And a master who can run their own workshop, who can teach others. You find a similar type of system in the Japanese way of learning, the Hashu-ri, which is do exactly as you are told, basically. So you practice all of the katas, just keep practicing. Then the Shu stage, where you understand how that works. And then the re phase, where you can break the rules again, but only after understanding what you're actually doing. It is a wonderful sort of way to speak about learning that is used a lot, of course, in lean and continuous improvement, because we love everything that's Japanese. But I like this way of thinking about it quite a bit more. And the orange line here is not just the consciousness level, it's also the happiness level. Because a novice is quite happy, not knowing that they don't know anything about it. Then, as soon as you really understand that you just cannot do it, that really is sort of a low point, right? You want to be able to do everything, and then it climbs up steeply when you see that you can do things at some point. If you are back at that unconscious competence level, you just do things. You're just happy to do the work and do the things that come with that. That is something that you sort of want when it comes to your own learning. You should also make this possible for anybody else in your organization and in your circle of friends also, is allow them to follow their own learning journeys. And also know that this path is different per skill, not per person. So a person is not an apprentice or a master, but a person can be an apprentice piano player and a master Excel guru. So those things, they are really per skill, per level. And as I said, the tools also develop. So somebody who really knows their Excel stuff, they can work with all kinds of macros and add-ins and difficult formulas. And that is also something to take into account when we're talking about CI tools. So when you introduce a breakdown analysis system, then if you take that from a company that has mastered it, they can register, because they built these systems over years, what was the line, what was the defect code, what was the first cause levels, what was the frequency, what was the amount of downtime purely mechanical, what was the amount of production time lost, which were the parts that were used, what was the last time that this happened. And they can put up an entire database of these things. And they will, I can guarantee you, if you put a good database like that in place, they will help you to get a better breakdown analysis. But from my own experience, and this is where I learned to please let everybody have their own learning journey, when I was implementing this in a factory where our operational excellence program was really immature, it was really in the starting blocks, basically. And both me, but definitely also the maintenance team said, but we don't have these, why do we need these columns? And then a mentor of mine from the global team, he said, okay, just hide the columns. It's not a big deal. Hide the columns. They are not critical to the end result you are looking for. He was definitely at that master stage already. He knew which columns we really would need from the start and which would be added later. He also didn't say delete them. He said, no, hide them. Because at some point, when that maintenance team does their analysis, they will have a good way of showing what the reliability of the machines was. But then they will want to know, oh wait, but how long did it take us to fix it versus how long was production down? Oh, so maybe we should add a column, the pure mechanical breakdown time. And you just unhide column H, so to say. Right. So it's not just the skills that develop it, it's also the tools that you are able to use. And that same thing goes for the type of predictive tools that we have. Like when you go in and you start doing designed experiments, right? Design of experiment and DOEs, that is a pretty involved tool. That is not something that you need in a beginning of a Six Sigma journey or beginning of a TPM journey. If you do start with those, and honestly, I would put FMEAs on there as well, right? The failure mode and effect analysis. Those are, to do them well, are pretty complicated and probably, depending of course a bit on the levels that you're already performing at, not the priority to have at the beginning of any operational excellence program. You will introduce them later. You'll start with things like good KPI management, basic problem solving, root cause analyses, having standard control, things like those. Those are the beginner tools. Those are what you teach apprentices and journeymen. So that builds your tool set. But even if we go into 5S as sort of a tool set, I would say, please just make the lines and put things in place. I would not include the replenishment of stocks yet at the very beginning. So just let people figure it out. At some point, they will run into, oh, wait, so I understand a broom is a broom and it has to be there. But if we have 5 of these cleaning wipes, because they're disposable, and then at the end of the week, somebody will have to put 5 new ones there for next week. Because otherwise, we run out. So that also needs a system. Or the lubrication of the lines. That needs to be done, right? So, but when and who and how much. And so those things, they will develop after you put the basics in place. And that is okay. If you go to a factory with a very high level of Toyota production system, 5S, even just basic 5S, if you go to a factory with a high level of 5S to learn for your own factory, well, you will be amazed at how nice it is to be there. But really, you cannot just copy their tools. It is a whole culture. So please copy the basics. And this is also when you see a good lean company's Kanban system. A very lean, so a very well-organized Kanban company will be very lean in their stocks. But if you put your stocks to a low level right now because you went all Kanban, your organization is not ready. You will mess things up. So when you develop your continuous improvement program, your operational excellence culture, your lean organization, allow other people also to learn, especially if you come from a company where you have very good experience and the whole culture has strong support for Lean, Six Sigma, TPM, and now you get to a company or department that is a lot less mature in those things. You should not dictate it. Dictating can be done at the apprentice level, but they have to grow through that interface where they consciously go from incompetence to competence. And they need to feel that, and they need to have the room for that. And you need to allow that in your programs. So don't speed it up too much, don't expect too much too quickly. Allow everybody to make their own learning journeys. I hope that, I didn't really give you a tool in these type of videos, the orange videos. I don't give you too much of a tool anyway, but I hope that this triggered some very useful thoughts of how you see the way that your role, also the Kaizen mentality within your company, within your organization, should develop and how you can help people climb up and up. Super important way to spread the competence and to give new people a chance to really get onto the system. Allow for non-perfect work, but also allow for use of very simple tools. Even if you know that the tool is not 100% correct, if we're talking data and information type of tools, but just allow these things and guide people through their own learning journey. I hope you liked that way of thinking about how we guide people. If you did, do hit that like button. And I wish you a brilliant lifelong learning journey for yourself as well.